everyone says too, your mess is your message. So when you find yourself through your mess and you share that message with others, that's when you inspire others to change as well.
Hello and welcome to the Phoenix Experience, is what I've called it now. It used to be like the Phoenix Podcast, but that was only for like a little bit because I didn't have a name for this thing, to be honest. So fresh out of the baby podcast water.
Love it.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Phoenix. First time meeting, and I love how authentic you are when it comes to, what you're doing and the messages that you're sharing, because
Cool.
nothing's scripted. I mean, this is
Yep.
literally the first time you and I are meeting, so
Yep.
it can't get any more authentic than this.
This anyway, and I can see it already wanting to take a certain shape in the respect of conversations and people that I have on and stuff like that, even though I have no clue who you are and what you do, which I have an idea, it's like there's a little bit of idea there, but I would love to hear from your mouth. Hear it from you. Tell us about you, who you are, what you do, why you're here. What the heck
Okay,
do you want?
awesome. Yeah, so my name is Katie. I'm 30 years of age, and probably just like most of the people listening to this is I grew up in a family, followed the traditional route of going to school, getting that good paying job, pension benefits, because that's what we're conditioned to do. That's going to bring us fulfillment, success, happiness, all of that. And I had actually I was the first person in my entire family to have gone to post-secondary. So it was, really looked as a celebratory milestone. So when I had gone down that route to become a school teacher, I taught some elementary school for 5 years, absolutely love kids. I was, hemming and hawing, and it's like, well, this is not what I signed up for. I had one normal year of teaching, and then there was a lot of interesting things that happened, world events and all that. We don't have to get into that. But at the end of the day, I had that conscious interrupt. A lot of people normally change through either emotional impact or through repetitive study. And I've already had a number of different emotional impacts throughout my life. So I've become more like a chameleon to adapt to the environment, and the willingness to change if something's not working out. So when I began to question and like, hey, well, I don't see myself doing this for 30 years and actually living in a life where I am going to achieve everything that I saw in my mind's eye as a child, even knowing that I wanted to become a teacher at the age of 9, right?
Oh, wow.
So when I started to think about that, and we are a product of our environment, right? Show me your 5 people and I'll tell you your future. There's all these different sayings. So when I thought about it, looking to my left and my right and my colleagues and seeing what their life was like, I was like, this isn't the life for me. Teaching is amazing, and there's so many people that get lots of joy out of it, but it's not also for everybody. So it's really, really important for you to have the ability to reflect, go back to your values, go back to your truth, and be able to make that empowered decision. Because a lot of us live these lives in quiet desperation, meaning that we'll question, but we'll keep our mouths closed, going along to get along, and put on these masks and be someone that we think we have to be in order to fit into these groups. Because it is human nature to want to fit in. So going through that process of asking yourself the question, do I want to live a life where I'm putting on these masks and truly living a life of self-abandonment in order to be socially accepted and reject myself? Or am I willing to be rejected by those that I've thought to be my social group, my friends and family, in order to live my truth and actually attract the right people into my life? So I made that decision, and I went through that whole process of, I like to call it the detox phase. You need to go through the detox, letting go of the old to allow room and space for the new. And I actually moved cities. I knew I needed to change my environment and start building from a fresh slate. And that's the beautiful thing about life. It passes us by quite quickly, but you have the ability to pivot and start completely new at any point. And every single one of us is imperfect. So we can learn to accept our imperfections. That's when we really begin to grow and learn. But when we strive for perfection, that's when you're going to live a life of, I mean, what would I say, unfulfillment and depression and all that stuff, because you're caught in this loop of negativity, comparison, criticism, and complaining. That's what Jay Shetty refers to as the 3 C's: comparison, complaining, and criticism. So even establishing a habit such as that to eliminate those 3 things over 30 days, watch what happens. Just observe and live from, a third person party of, okay, how did Phoenix live today? What did she do good? What could she course correct in order to refine and tweak? So all in all, this entire journey of self-discovery, because I really believe that we're in the school of life and it's a game when you can look at it as third person and you can tweak, refine, redirect, course correct throughout every single day, every 24-hour block, you're going to get closer to your truth, closer into alignment of what you want to express, because we all have unique gifts and creativity that comes from, I believe, crisis for us to self-express. So I dove into entrepreneurship from traditional employment, and I realized that traditional entrepreneurship, traditional business has you in a role of self-employment, meaning you have to do it all on your own, and trying to reinvent this wheel and put these systems in place is like, oh my goodness, overwhelming. I always say, if you're going to go into traditional business, just stay in your job. Because, I mean, realistically speaking, if you actually unless you have a whole plan set in place and you've got these systems, you have the capital to invest. Because typically in traditional business, for any startup to get moving and grooving, you're going to be investing $50,000 minimum. And it typically takes 9 to 10 years for a business to become profitable, if not break even. So, and I know that 90% of startups fail. So when I started to actually do my research and I realized that I was burning out teaching and then stepping into self-employment, that certainly I was going to continue to burn out, even to a graver degree. So I said, once again, change needs to happen. So I started doing more and more research and understanding that any successful person, another conditioned belief too, is we're always looking for the easier route, the route of least resistance. So
Yep.
yeah, so and then I came to understand, it's like, okay, well, any successful person is able to put their feelings aside and act from what they truly desire and what they want. So it's not logical thinking, it's almost emotional thinking. So they do put their feelings aside, but they're also so emotionally invested into their vision versus logically thinking to only cover their needs. So when you can do that consistently and in the right association, and actually understand that all of these people who have gone out and done pursued their own amazing passions and ideas, they always go back to leveraging other people's influence, results, and money and ideas. So I said, Katie, if you want to achieve success, you need to learn how to surrender your ego, surrender to your definite purpose. Listen to someone else for 4 years who has proven success, who has a proven idea. Leverage that, build your capital, and then from there, see where you're at, and then go and do your own thing. Because everyone has all these amazing ideas and what they want to do, but you're going to be able to help a lot more people if you're connected to the right network. You already have a solution that you can help others with, and then go out and do your own thing. So now I'd say I'm in the business of professionally networking, making worldwide international relationships, and ultimately opening up multiple distribution channels.
See, that would have been my next question. Like, what exactly is it that you do? And but to back up a little bit, did something happen in your life at the point when you were a teacher, or it was just that realization of, oh, I can't live my life like this, or this is not for me anymore, or was there a drastic, I don't know, like a breakup or somebody dying in your life, or just it was just simply that what happened?
Well,
Basically,
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is we go through these experiences where the system puts us through a diagnostic process where people then identify with what their diagnosis is, and that's not the case. It's more so exactly what you asked. What happened to you? What happened
right?
to cause that change? And how can you use that as a catalyst to get yourself to your best self? And, you know, everyone says too, your mess is your message. So when you find yourself through your mess and you share that message with others, that's when you inspire others to change as well. So, I mean, like I said, I've experienced a number of different adversities throughout my life. My oldest brother had passed away when I was in university studying to become a school teacher. That's actually the year I did the best when I was competing in as a varsity runner, a sprinter. I had competed and reached nationals. So once again, I used that energy to channel through me and was able to compete very successfully. When I was in teaching, I realized, well, my number one value has always been freedom. My definition of freedom has, always comes to a new level of awareness and evolution, meaning freedom to me is the ability for you to consciously have the ability to, put yourself in the environments you wish to be put in, meaning
Mm-hmm.
that your environment needs to be massaging and nurturing your subconscious mind. A lot of people, they're very protective over, what would I say? They hold on tight and they're very protective over their income,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't even consciously think about what's going into their mind, what they're feeding their mind with every single day. So they leave their mind as an open vessel, but they have their bank account completely closed to any sort of opportunity that could change their life. And I realized that that environment in which I was putting myself in on a daily basis was negatively impacting my nervous system to the point that I was having panic attacks. And I had to go on medical leave. And I did everything I possibly could to do my research, inquiry, follow the system, really manage and regulate with using my circadian rhythm, nervous system regulation, cold exposure, different gut health techniques, gut resets, all of that stuff. And I had attempted to actually go back into that workplace and I was still experiencing the same kind of activation. And once you know, you can't unknow that. So I realized there was no going back. Even if I had put all of these different protocols and measures in place to regulate my nervous system. So this isn't even about income. This is about my health and my mental health. And my mental health comes before anything else because that is going to be in direct reflection into or a direct reflection of the experience I have on a daily basis. So freedom is the ability for me to choose my environment that's going to nurture my nervous system, my subconscious mind, and feed myself with the right material to think, speak, and behave correctly. That's going to be uplifting and put me in the right mindset for the other day or for the day to inspire others as well. Because I believe, it's just the difference in between someone who's not free and someone who is the mindset. And the mindset stems from the environment in which you're putting yourself.
And it's interesting. I've never heard this view on freedom before. Because most of everything that I listen to or people that I hear talking about freedom, they see it as an internal process, and it totally is. But you're putting a nuance of the external as well onto it, which is it's so true. Who you surround yourself with, you become 100% sure. And you getting to the place of this is my highest value and this is what I want to have in my life the most. I guess, was your catapult towards where you are now. When did that happen? When did you start your own entrepreneurship, let's say? How long ago was that?
I resigned, I retired. I like to say I retired. I retired from teaching a year ago.
All right, so you're fresh into this head first.
Yes.
That's it. That's it. How did you find it? Oh my God! Because of course you spoke about leaving the comfort of the income. How was that for you? Did you find it challenging to start with, or was it scary? Was it frightening? Did you have a lot of stuff coming up to the surface? Because that's what happens when you do something completely different. Prepare for war. All this shit comes up at that point.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's the thing is step into success or what they believe is going to bring them success outside of the generic molds that we talked about, and they think it's going to happen overnight because there's all these stories of this overnight success, and that's not true. You look at all these people who've achieved great milestones, study their background for their 10, 15 years prior to. Most of them have been going at it for at least a decade, right? But none of that's actually brought to the surface unless you do your own research. So, all that being said, is people will step into success. They'll look for a system, they'll look for a secret. How do I get there? They want the instant gratification. You need to do the reps. You need to be willing to unlearn before you can learn something new to create that space in your subconscious mind. You know, our subconscious mind, our brain, our body, it's literally a supercomputer. There's nothing that has this much power and creative force behind it than our actual, you know, biometrics and all of that. So when you're able to actually tap into the ability of, I want to say, neuroplasticity,
Hmm.
literally for you to, Joe Dispenza talks about it, for you to change your reality, your personal reality, you need to change your personality. So when you look at that, to untangle, undo the virus codes and all of the stuff that has been keeping you back, sacred burns, and then rewriting a new script that wasn't created by your parents, by the schooling, by your jobs, and you realize you can decide to be anyone you want and you can reinvent yourself daily, monthly, annually. That's when the real magic happens. So at the beginning stages, even still, I also say this too is I'm always growing and I'm always learning, and without struggle there is no success. The failure is actually the most rewarding. I'm inspired by failure because that's when I was like, what went wrong here? Okay. What needs to be course corrected? And I just discovered a new layer of myself that I didn't even know existed for me to be better and show up better tomorrow.
That's amazing. I mean, you mentioned the change in personal reality and personality, and of
Yeah.
course, I don't know. Have you been to any Joe Dispenza retreats, by the way? Because you mentioned Joe
No,
Dispenza.
no, I've never been to one of Joe Dispenza's retreats, but when I did start the journey, um I also have to say, oh my goodness, everything had happened at once when I left teaching, right? So at that point, I had been in a long-term 7-year relationship that completely dissolved. And then I had this home on my hands. So I got that all prepped and sold that. So the you can look at it as losses or gains, right? A loss or a lesson even, right? So at that point, uh, lost lost my job, I lost my relationship, I lost my house, and I also lost all of my finances because I was in desperation. It's like, how am I going to make this work? I literally have no source of income. So I actually had got involved vulnerably with a scam that I had lost $38,000 as well. So all of that in a span of 12 months. And it's like, here I am.
Here we
Here we
go.
go. Buckle up. Buckle up.
Yeah,
But yeah, so Joe Dispenza was actually one individual who I had listened to on a daily basis on repetition every morning and evening as a morning meditation.
I was gonna say, do you do any meditations at all, like whether it's guided or music, silence, whatever? Because I know any change that you do external only lasts for a little while. If it's not internal, it doesn't get to the root of it, and I'm having this feeling that you probably go in at the root of it all, whatever you're trying to change and achieve in your life.
Totally. Totally. And, I've reached new milestones of success and I have a new level of awareness. Like I said, once you know, you can't go back. However, in order to maintain that, when your association changes, meaning you're distancing yourself that who may be personally mentoring you, your results may go down because you don't have that level of accountability anymore. However, they'll never go back to what they were previously or what they were previous. So all of that, you know, having yourself ask the question when you're realizing that the personal development continues internally to receive new results on the external, asking yourself if you're not being able to maintain what is it that I'm no longer in agreement with that's coming into contact with me that I'm still participating in, right? Because like I said, you constantly need to be deleting old habits that are you're no longer in agreement with in order to replace them with new. And one of my mentors says new levels, new devils. So constantly also I believe it's Andrew Huberman who talks about it, Dr. Andrew Huberman, who says every single day that you're achieving a goal and you're going after success, it's like fighting an addiction because the only enemy you have is the inner me of your old programming, your old habits, thought patterns, and beliefs. So when you adopting a new belief system, you're literally going to war every day with the inner you. And it will never leave. It just becomes quieter the stronger your new belief system becomes. Meaning when you can have an organized day, order being heaven's first law, there'll be no room for the devil to creep in, for those fears and doubts to creep in, because you're so focused, you're so organized, and you just continue in motion. Once the engine is fueled, you need to keep moving
Do
because
you
the
ever?
moment you stop is the moment that all those other things are going to come in.
Yeah, that would have been my question. Like, do you ever feel like you give yourself a day break, let's say, or from the implementing the new routine, or let's say something else happened? Because this is interesting that this is coming up right now. My best friend, went on a trip to Greece, and for about a week or so, she couldn't do her normal routines, which is her spiritual practices, her everyday things to keep the other voice louder, right? Like you were describing. And of course, the other one, the little that got small by that point, started being louder again. And I'm thinking like situations like that, where there's something else that happens. Are you always on guard? Maybe I'm getting the wrong impression, but are you always on guard? I'm catching this ego every time it peers its head up, and I'm not gonna let it say a thing. Or do you ever give yourself the grace and the love towards that part of yourself that sometimes wants to have the microphone, and speak and show you something maybe that needs attention? Like, how do you deal with those things?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's always important to move with, grace and self-compassion because the process, like you said, the ego is going to always pop in and you literally have a table. Say you need to picture a table because the mind thinks in picture. So if you can think of your ego as a table in your mind with all these different personalities, because everyone has all the types of personalities. It just some have stronger roles and are self-expressed more than others based on what you put your attention towards. So that being said, when a, so to speak, negative personality trait at that table comes out, say, you can give your personality traits names too, right? Negative Nancy, Sour Steve, whatever you want to call it. So Princess Katie, that was one of my nicknames growing up. Princess, I have so many different needs, right? But so if negative Nancy comes out, Nancy, I hear your problems right now, and I totally want to honor them. I've really got to get through this meeting, and just listen in. I'm gonna give you a spot at the table. Just sit back, enjoy, and then we'll have a conversation after. Like I said, you need to look at yourself as a game and in third person, so you can talk to the different personalities that exist within you, and giving that your psyche, your psychology, the ability to work through those patterns is going to make the shift within you. What's the name of that movie with all the different personalities? I can't think of it right now. It's a
I don't
Disney
know.
movie, and there's like anger, sadness, joy.
Oh, I haven't watched it. I've seen little clips of it, but I don't know. I haven't watched it, so I wouldn't know to tell you.
Okay, okay. Well, anyways, that's the way you got to really think about yourself, is we literally have all these different personality archetypes, deities, whatever you want to call it, of who we are at our essence, and those are different aspects of our ego. So when we give them all a spot at the table, we validate them, and we recognize the role that they each play in our life to bring that forward and express it when it's meant to be expressed. That's when the magic happens. I'm not telling you that you need to completely suppress, repress parts of yourself. All of them deserve a part at the table, a seat at the table, and knowing when the timing is right to express that part of yourself. And especially when you're going through the hardship and the adversity, is finding those time blocks, giving yourself that grace to go out in the middle of nowhere and scream, right? Write, pardon my French, but write a fuck you letter to that part, or that part that wants to be expressed, feeling anger towards XYZ. That was a practice that I was taught in one of the yoga psychology courses I studied with Ashley Turner, saying, writing this, whoever you're experiencing anger and frustration towards, right? Fuck you for blah, 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 blah. And just let it run. Let that channel all that out. And then what you do is you cross out the name of all those, wherever that you wrote the person's name, and you write your name and you read it out loud both times, and you see how you feel, because everything's realistically a mirror, right? So recognizing those parts within yourself too, and realizing that that's what you did to yourself, right?
Yeah. I mean, it changes the energy of it altogether, I'd imagine. If you put yourself in the place, and it's funny because you're saying this, and I'm thinking of this is a practice that I've worked with called freedom activation, and I am a guide in freedom activation, and it is a writing of statements of sorts. And you go through some processes with it, and then you change it into the beliefs that you want to have, and it's so powerful. Like, it's such a powerful thing to do. You would think it's only writing some sentences and you're just saying certain things, but oh my god, it brings them. It has a lot of emotion attached to it, and it changes the perspective a lot. Now, what is it that you do more exactly with people? I imagine you have clients that you work through some processes, or what do you do? What do you work? What is your medicine to the world, let's say?
Well, my medicine to the world right now is, I always say that you can really impact a lot of lives when you build a network, right? Because in any area of life, with services, products, solutions, without people there would be no cash flow, right? You look at any business that's opening up, they're going to share it with as many people as possible, because the capital is people. You look at a hotel building, if there's no people that are sleeping and staying at that hotel, it's just a building with beds.
Hmm.
So the significant comes from professional relationships, like I had mentioned. So what do I do right now? I'm focused on changing as many lives as possible by shifting the awareness, working individually with people, also in group settings, and giving them a vehicle that will enable them to a better life of freedom, both time and finances, in leveraging a system that I have access to.
Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Can you describe the process, or is it strictly secretive? Only people that get closer would know what the process is. Can you share a
Well,
little bit?
it's just a real deal of planting seeds of curiosity, and then I like to have conversations one-on-one with people to really make and establish that personal connection, because it's not for anyone and everyone. I really
Hmm.
like to build rapport with people to see if we're a good fit, because anyone that I personally work with, Phoenix, I like to have at least a 12-month commitment. I cannot promise someone results or to shift anything in their life or experience in 30 days. That's
Hmm.
not enough time
It's
for me
not
to
a
build
quick fix.
trust and rapport with
Yeah,
someone.
yeah,
Like I said,
I get.
it's a business of professional relationships. So just really hearing where they're at, what have been their experiences so far? What are they challenged with? What are they struggling with? And seeing if there's any way that I can actually help them. Because I can't help everybody, right? And people typically who need it the most are the people that are the least willing to change. Whereas the people who actually want it are the ones who are willing to change. So I'm going out there and speaking to numerous people on a daily basis, and just understanding that a lot of the world, like I said, lives in silence, struggling, looking for a solution, but don't know where to look. And if you don't go out there and use your voice and have a solution to share to be of value to another person, then people are going to continue to struggle. So my I'm doing my best to not only become my best self, but to listen to other people and see how I can actually actively serve.
I know you've recently been to the UK, or am I getting this wrong? Or you're gonna come to the UK? You've been to the UK, have you?
Yeah, I was there in August and I'm leaving on Thursday again, and I'll be there again for a month because I've got a lot of business there. So we actually are having a big event there in Bristol that I'm really excited about. And I'd always say, live events change lives, because we literally, this is all subconscious too. Our nervous system is going to respond in direct correlation to the people that we're in the room with. So when you're around a certain mindset and a certain environment for so long, and then you step into a new environment at an event, and you're around people that have reached new results, new milestones, new levels of success, you're going to feel damn uncomfortable because your nervous system's not used to that. Your mindset's not used to that. But that's when you're going to grow the most. So I always say, come with an open mind, come with questions, and be prepared to grow.
Yeah. What event is it? What are you guys doing over there? And how many people are attending?
How many people are attending? I believe I believe it's around 150.
Who?
And yeah, I mean it's mindset, it's success, all of that. Business, all of that, because I believe that business is life. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
There's
I
no
know you
other
said
way
that.
I'd rather travel than business related. And people get that wrong because they have the programming and the understanding that business is something that you attend, and you put yourself in these environments to get paid regardless of what you do, and you associate with these people just because you're getting paid. But the relationships that I have established, I absolutely adore. And I know that that's what's going to get me to my next level. And when you embark the journey, just as you have, Phoenix, of growth, it becomes addictive. So yeah, it's going to be an event that's going to be jam packed with high value when it comes to goal setting, growth, business, personal, and professional development.
Nice. Oh my God, you sound like such a go-getter. It's crazy. I'm like, I can see this energy of go 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 do 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 quite a lot. no judgment. By the way, everybody's different. Everybody does things differently. Do you ever take a break? Do you ever have like chill out days of, I don't know, going for a stroll or enjoying the sunset, or I don't know, whatever you do to chill out and stuff?
Whatever I do to chill out. Well,
Yeah.
and that's the feminine versus the masculine, right? I mean,
Right?
I've got a pretty balanced lifestyle still. Like I still have my 8 hours of sleep a night. Like I said, I really take care of my circadian rhythm. I do my cold exposure. I do my workouts daily, which fuels me and energizes me. And I believe that, like I said, we're supercomputers. We emanate energy, and energy comes from us actually aligning ourselves with the right actions on a daily basis. Depression comes from us following someone else's goal and someone else's plan for our life, someone else's script that's been programmed into us. So when you have the correct script, you don't need to stop and take breaks.
Right. We have a little bit of a thing with it because it's one of them things of agree to disagree on this one because I think you can't go constantly forever, even though it seems like, or it sounds like it's a thing that it's your path and it's your journey, and you're talking about your nervous system and everything, and I'm thinking your nervous system is probably going to be like slow down a little bit sometimes. I'm thinking that. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I could be.
Absolutely. Like go and have a spa day. Treat
Well, that's
yourself.
what I
You
mean.
deserve
That's
it.
what I mean. That's what I mean. It's like chill out for a little bit too. That's what I'm asking. Like, do you have those days as well of just, I don't know. And I know, I understand if you look at it from the perspective of this becomes my lifestyle, but it can't. I'm my way of seeing it can't be go 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 nonstop. You know,
Yeah,
maybe I
totally.
misunderstood what you're
No,
what
no,
you're saying.
totally. Like, when I have specific goals, because a lot of people can't stay consistent for more than 30 days, never mind a year.
Mhm.
So the habits, and whenever you experience a crisis or adversity, you're always going to fall back on your habits.
Mhm.
So I've established habits for myself of doing the things that go against my human nature. I mean doing the things that I don't like doing because that's where success comes from. And I know that when most people give up, that's when I go to work because I know that's when there's the most opportunity for growth and success.
Yeah, it's
But
a
I
selfish.
know, but and that all being said, Phoenix, I know after how many months of constant, consistent effort that all of that time is compounding, and I'm reaping the benefits of my work that I did 6 months ago right now. And now I'm prepping myself. I'm acting as if it's already 2025 because right now this is an opportunity for me to continue to grow, continue to change lives. When December comes, that's when I'm going to go just, take a minute, reflect on the year, think about how much success I've achieved because I've already set myself up for 2025. I've already got it planned. I'm going to the spa. I'm going to go to Mont Tremblant in Quebec. I'm going to do some snowboarding and just enjoy. So, yes, I do give myself breaks. I also have a cruise. I actually want a cruise. So, I'm going to be going on a cruise at some point to the Bahamas.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
amazing. How did
Yeah.
you how did you win that? How did that happen? Did you enter a
Well,
competition?
yeah, well, it's through my business production because, like I said, I have access to a system that I leverage. So, based on my business production and how many people I've helped, I was able to qualify for this cruise that I have a year to redeem.
That's awesome. That's
I haven't
awesome.
gone on a cruise ever, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's gonna be so brilliant. I mean, I'm looking at the time now and I know you gotta go real quick.
Yeah,
Where can people find you? If anybody wants to work with you, where can they find you?
it's a great question. So I am most active on Instagram and on Facebook. That's how you and I met.
Mhm.
So just looking at my full legal name there, which is actually on the screen right now. So Katie Darcy, or you can actually find me on Instagram with that name as well. So both will work. And yeah, Instagram or Facebook. And honestly, I would love to just hear from you if you learned something or what you liked most hearing about in our conversation between Phoenix and I today.
great. That's so cool. So people join the comment section
Yeah.
and do what's been said in here. Yeah, well, I'm very grateful for you being here. I know this has been very short and sweet, but I feel like we covered quite a little bit in the conversation that we've had, and yeah, I'm glad I reached out to you, so we can
Likewise.
share this little bit of time and space together. That's what
Yes.
happened.
I appreciate you, Phoenix. And I have to say, I love the fall colors in the back.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's so funny because see, I share a home with somebody where I live right now. And these were here. They were just in a bunch somewhere. And I thought, you know what, they would look really cool in the bed frame over there. So that's what that is.
Yes.
That's what that
Yeah.
is. Thank
You're
you very
setting
much.
the tone for your environment. High frequency.
Oh, you don't know. Oh my God, there's such a lot. But anyway, I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you very much again for being here and for sharing a little bit about yourself and your life and your
Always.
journey.
Awesome. Okay, have a great day. Bye.